What's up everyone, Noobstone here, and I'm finally back. I had a lot of stuff going on, switching from 2025 to 2026, but I'm finally back and ended up buying a new graphics card, the RTX 5070 Ti. And in today's video, I want to show you what my personal settings are and how you can improve your game when it's not running as smooth as it should be. All my components are linked under the video with a direct link to Amazon in case you want to buy them. But keep in mind that you also check out other marketplaces because the PC parts could be much cheaper on other places. If your Star Citizen looks great but runs like a slideshow, this video might fix that. I will show you the few settings that actually matter in 4.6. Which ones are basically free quality and what to lower first for big FPS gains without nuking your visuals. So in my setup, I'm using a Ryzen 7 7800X 3D, 64GB of RAM and an RTX 5070 Ti. These are already some pretty strong components, and I'm just telling you this so you have some key data and know what kind of system I'm using. But before you touch anything, you should test your FPS in different areas in order to see the frame pacing and not just your peak FPS, to have some kind of a baseline to compare your FPS before adjusting and after the adjustment in order to compare them directly. Now we're coming to the three settings that matter the most. The graphics renderer. In 4.6, the renderer choices can swing performance and stability. Vulkan can be great, but CIG also lists potential Vulkan FPS drops and suggests lowering resolution, updating drivers, or switching back if you get slammed. So you should start with Vulkan, and if it's stable for you, keep it. But if you see random drops to awful FPS, switch back to DirectX and retest. Second, upscaling. This is the biggest free FPS lever with minimal quality loss, especially at 4040p and up. If you are using an RTX card, use DLSS, quality first, and if you need more FPS, go to the balanced mode. You should really only go performance if you are in heavy cities and you really need the FPS. And the third part, the VRAM budget bar. You should not ignore this. In 4.6, the graphics menu gives you an estimated VRAM usage bar. This is huge. If you exceed your practical VRAM headroom, Star Citizen starts leaning on system RAM and performance can tank. So keep that bar below the recommended max, with some headroom for Discord, browsing, or anything else which you are doing beside gaming. So let's jump to the actual graphics settings where you can increase your FPS without losing too much details. So we will use a custom setting, but you can start from high or very high as a visual baseline and then change only the settings that actually cost FPS. We are starting with the settings which you should try to keep on high because they preserve quality with minimal FPS costs. Object details. You should keep this on high. Dropping it can cause ugly pop-in and surface looking wrong. High keeps the world feeling Star Citizen-like. So if you can afford it, keep it on high. Textures. Keep the textures on high as long as your VRAM allows it. Texture quality is mostly a VRAM decision. So keep textures on high if your VRAM budget bar stays healthy. If you are near the limit, especially in cities, drop texture to medium before you start killing lighting or details. Texture filtering. You should keep texture filtering on high. It sharpens surfaces at angles and usually costs very little performance. Now we're coming to the settings which you can lower, which will increase your FPS without killing your visuals. The first one is a heavyweight, Planet Volumetric Clouds. If you want FPS without turning the game into a blurry mess, clouds are often your number one choice. Medium is the sweet spot for most people. You should consider picking low if you are often in horizon or thick atmosphere is crushing you. Settings on high look amazing, but it really costs a lot of performance. The next one are shadows. Shadows can be expensive, and the visual difference between high and medium is often smaller than you think. Screen space shadows, low or medium. If you're chasing maximum FPS, drop them further, but keep some shadows though the scene doesn't look flat. Then we have the silent FPS killers: fog, gas clouds and post effects. These are great candidates to lower because you feel the FPS gain and the game still looks really good. So if you are struggling with performance, you should lower fog, gas clouds and post effects to low or medium. Water caustics and water simulation. Water settings are the easiest sacrifice. Unless you're doing some cinematic shoreline shots, you should keep water caustics on low and also water simulations on low. You will almost never notice them, and it's one less thing your GPU has to worry about. So for my personal setup with an Ryzen 7800X 3D and an RTX 5070 Ti, I'm running my game on every setting on high. I could also maintain ultra, but I want to keep high FPS and avoid the fear of getting into some slideshows. So if your system is not the strongest, here's my recommendation for you. You should try the renderer Vulkan. Switch back to DirectX if you get major FPS drops or have any issues running Vulkan. You should use your native resolution. If you're upscaling, use DLSS quality. Only change it down to balanced if needed. VSync should be switched off. You should keep the object details on high, object view distance on medium or high depending on your needs. Texture quality, try high, and if your VRAM is close to the budget, try medium. Texture filtering, use high. Shadow maps, use medium. Screen space shadows, low or medium. Planet volumetric clouds, use medium or low when you're often in horizon. Switch fog and gas clouds to low. Shadow quality and shading on medium. Post effects on low or medium. And water caustics and water simulation on low. Those settings should help you to maintain better FPS in Star Citizen. So if you are still on low FPS in cities, you can try to keep the object details high but lower the view distance slightly. This will also increase your FPS. You can try to drop down the LSS from quality to balanced. And keep also in mind that Star Citizen can often be server or CPU bound, so lowering GPU only settings won't always help you. Sometimes the servers are really crap. And it can also happen that Vulkan suddenly tanks your FPS. CIG's own guidance is to try lowering resolution, updating drivers or switching back to DirectX. So don't waste hours, just swap and retest. So that are my graphics settings for Star Citizen 4.6. Keep the details that matter, cut the expensive atmosphere and effects first, and always respect your VRAM budget. What are your average FPS in Star Citizen? Let me know in the comments down below. So that's it for today's video. I hope this was helpful for you, and if you want, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And I see you in the next one. Bye.